Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Morgan Iron. Welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I posted a video. This is something new that I've started playing. It is Diablo Immortal. It just came out in June for mobile, and then slightly after that for PC in beta. It's a pretty interesting game. I played Diablo whenever I was a kid, so whenever I saw this, I pre-registered for it and everything, and been playing it since the beginning of June, and it's been pretty interesting. You have 6 classes you can choose from. I picked a Demon Hunter. You can see I'm already level 60, actually past level 60, 60 plus 22. But there's 6 different classes. There's Barbarian, which is a normal tank class. You're going to take lots of damage. You're kind of slow and clunky. You do a decent amount of damage. The Wizard is a support class. They're basically going to be for crowd control. They don't have a lot of health, but they do a decent amount of damage. Demon Hunter is kind of middle ground. They have high DPS. They do a lot of damage. They can move around pretty good. The Monk is very similar to the Demon Hunter. They do a lot of damage. They can move around pretty well. The Crusader is kind of a tank crossed with a magic user. They have buffs and a lot of armor, so they can take a lot of damage. The Necromancer is very similar to the Wizard. They're really good for crowd control, and they have a decent amount of DPS. They can pretty well hold their own in PVE, playing solo. I obviously have a Demon Hunter. I think he looks kind of cool. Each one has their own styles and everything. And let me take you in here and take a look at everything that we've got going on. So the game is obviously pay to win. I guess, the company has to make money or whatever, but a lot of people don't like the fact that you can pay to win the game. The bundles, some of them are okay, I guess. I haven't paid for any of them, but I did pay for the battle pass. There are a couple of different options for things that you can pay for, like this $20 thing. You get all these extra legendary crests and stuff that you use when you go into a challenge and you get extra stuff. You can see here the battle pass. I got the basic battle pass because I didn't really see much of a point in getting the $10 one. I'm not real big on the cosmetics, and what was available in the $4 or $5 battle pass, the basic one, was plenty enough. Here are some of the cosmetics that are available. You see they cost about 1,000 of those purple crystals. I think the higher ones, 1,500 of those purple crystals, and those are not something that you get regularly in game. When I first started the game, I think you start out with about 150 of them, and I used them just to get some crystals or whatever. But you see, 1,500 costs you about $25. So those cosmetics are $25 cosmetics, and I don't think it's worth it. These are special stones that you can buy that you can use to change the stats on your gear. Most of your stats are going to come from your equipment in your gear. It doesn't come from your character itself as much. There are dark clans and immortal clans, and you can see here I'm in a dark clan, which doesn't really make you evil. It's just your job is to test the immortals to make sure that they are worthy and strong enough to be able to protect the world. And each type of clan has their own special activities and everything that they can do. If you're not in a dark clan or a mortal clan and just in a regular clan, then you're considered an adventurer. And I think there are actually some special activities just for adventurers as well. The leaders of dark clans and probably immortal clans too can set a clan focus, and whenever you complete those, you get rewards, and it helps to rank up your clan in the standings. On the left, you can see we have different things over here where you can follow quests and guides. This is the battle pass. The stuff on the top is free. The stuff on the bottom is the paid battle pass. You can see the very first thing with the paid battle pass. I actually got a legendary crossbow, which was kind of nice, for starting out, and I already got a legendary weapon. And you get a few pretty decent rewards with the paid one, but you do still get legendary equipment with the free one as well. So you don't really have to buy the free one, or have to buy the battle pass. You can get decent rewards with just the free one. Obviously, you're going to get better rewards with the paid one, but I mean, I think it was a little bit worth it, for $4 or $5, but that's up to you. There's activities that are there every day. They don't change. All they do is kind of reset each day, but you get points for completing them, and you can do them as many times as you want. Aside from the bounties, you can only do up to 24 bounties a day. But this conquest thing here, you have world and PvP. It's just standings based on your combat rating and the gear that you have equipped and the gems that you have equipped in your gear. So it's just kind of a thing based on your stats from your gear and your combat ratings. And you see here these ratings on mine, fair, and things like that. Like, I haven't gotten a lot of legendary gems because you have to pay for some of that stuff, but I do have higher level gear. And then at the end of each season in the battle pass, you get certain rewards based on like how you ranked in this stuff. There are achievements for both zones and player specific achievements, and you get decent rewards for that stuff too. Nothing great. You can see here I have all legendary equipment, my main equipment, and then I have 2 set pieces, my boots and my belt, which are special pieces you get after level 60. Here's some of my stats. And all of this stuff comes from my gear and the crystals or the gems that I have equipped. Here's the skills that I have equipped right now. I think there's about 8. I haven't actually counted. I think there's about 8 different skills max that you can get for each class. Now, before we get on to the side-by-side comparison, I'm going to go back and actually show you guys some of the character creation. Whenever you first come into the game, it'll automatically set you to a server, but you might want to come in here and manually check. At the bottom right, it shows your time zone in UTC, and then you can choose which server you want to go to based on whatever your time zone is. Like mine, it says UTC 6 right now, but actually because of daylight savings time, mine's UTC 5 right now, so I'm like closer to 4 because I'm central time. But anyways, doesn't matter. So I'm going to start off actually with a Barbarian and kind of show you guys how the customization and everything is on this. So when you first choose your character, you got 3 basic looks to choose from. I guess it just really depends on what you want your guy to look like. I'm actually going to choose this more Viking looking guy here because, I don't know, the Barbarian just seems like he looks cool as a Viking. But this customization stuff, whenever you come in, like, you can just pick that basic look and then hit next and not go into customize. This took me probably about 15 minutes and I went through every single item. I'm gonna skip forward here in a minute, and so you don't have to sit through 15 minutes of me customizing a character. But it's pretty much pointless because um, there's absolutely no way that you're going to be able to see this on your character in game. You saw my character from my game, and there's no way you don't get that close to the character, and nobody else is going to see that. Like nobody's going to be able to tell what color your eyes are, and even your icon image for your character is just a basic image based on which of those three that you chose in the beginning. It would be nice if they go ahead and add something in the future that's going to allow us to see more of our characters, but I don't know. You'll see exactly how detailed this thing gets for no reason because nobody's going to see it. But let me go ahead and fast forward it now. Okay, so as you saw, there were a lot of different hairstyles to choose from. You got all these different colors you can choose from. You can do custom colors, and then you can adjust the length of the shading and the highlights and stuff, the opacity of it and everything. It's just a lot of ridiculous detail that you're never going to see again. Most of the time, your guys are wearing some type of helmet. I can't even see my guy's face right now, I don't think. So, I mean, this is really just for fun. You can adjust the cheekbones, the lips going in and out, the depth of the eyes. You can adjust, I mean, the jawline, the tilt of the nose, the angle of the bridge of the nose. I think there's like 6 different adjustments just for the nose. So it's a little bit overkill and kind of ridiculous for something that you're not going to see, but it's fun. So, I mean, have fun, check it out, do it, I guess. What I was kind of going for here, I was playing around with it and ended up putting some white hair on him and a white beard, and I was like, he looks like a really awesome Santa Claus, so that just ended up being the look that I was going for here. And I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the end of this and let you guys see the final result, and then we'll jump into the side-by-side comparison of all 6. I'm actually going to skip the tutorial and go to where they're all at around level 18 going into the first dungeon that you get to. Okay, so now you can see here the last little bit of this. I'm just adjusting his eyebrows and the eye color, and as you can see, it's really not anything that you can even tell. Like, it's even hard to see just on this screen, so you'll never see it in the game. Okay, so now here we go. I've created one of each of the 6 classes. I've gotten them up to the first dungeon, which is called the Mad King's Breach, and I'm going to let them run through this dungeon so you can see how they each compare. I started them all off at the same time, so this is going to be a complete side-by-side comparison for all of these. I've got the Demon Hunter on the top left, the Crusader on the top right, because Demon Hunter and Crusader are both hybrid classes, the Wizard on the center left, the Necromancer on the center right, because they're both magic classes and support, and then I have the Barbarian on the bottom left and the Monk on the bottom right, because they're both the just straight melee class. You'll probably notice pretty quickly that some of them move through a little bit faster than others. It's not necessarily an indication about how good or bad they are. I mean, I might have played it a little bit differently with the different classes. I myself prefer something more of like a mid-range ranged class. You know, like whenever I played World of Warcraft, I played a hunter, and when I play other games, you know, I prefer to be able to pick my targets and stand back. But I like the crowd control and everything, so the Demon Hunter is a great one for me. But also, The monk I felt really comfortable with because I could just jump right in, do a lot of damage really fast, and then jump back out. It had really good mobility for being a straight melee class. Well, I shouldn't say straight melee. I mean, they all have their special buffs and everything that they can do. So they all have like a little bit of magic or whatever, but you know what I mean. Basically straight melee. The wizard and the necromancer do really well, especially with crowds. When it comes down to one-on-one battles, they don't do as well, especially with bosses. So if you're gonna play a wizard, I would definitely say that you need to have a team that you're gonna party with. Um, the barbarian actually is a little bit slow, not because he can't handle the one-on-ones, but because he doesn't handle the crowds as well. Because his main attack focuses on one target at a time, and you can't move around while you're doing your main attack. He does have some mobility skills. You'll see where he has like a windmill thing where he spins around. He has one where he can throw out chains and pull guys into him and then attack. So he can deal with small crowds okay, but it really does slow him down, the fact that he doesn't deal with crowds as well as the others. The Necromancer surprisingly actually does well solo, even though he has less health, but it's because he has special summons. So he has, when you first start out, he has two little skeleton guys that are with him and do a lot of the attacking for him. And then as you go on, he gets more summons that he can actually bring out and can do the attacking for him while he's also doing his magic attacks. So as long as you're able to kind of stay back away from the action and send your guys in and then do your ranged magic attacks, the necromancer is pretty good. I actually did like the wizard, but it was slower playing, and you'll notice that watching these videos, because the wizard is going to be the last one to finish the dungeon, and it's going to take her a while. But like I said, it's mainly because of the trying to defeat the bosses solo. But when it comes to crowds, I actually liked the wizard, and I've seen other people play a wizard along with I want to say it was a Crusader, and they actually did really well together, just the two of them running through dungeons with her crowd control, and then the Crusader being able to move fairly quickly. He has a horse that he can ride on. You'll see that. I actually have that on him right now. But he has this horse that he rides on and throws chains out, and he can drag mobs along with him. So he does really well, and him paired with a wizard isn't too bad. I haven't paired with a wizard myself with my demon hunter, but I have paired with a necromancer a lot. There's actually a guy that's in my warband that me and him party together almost every night, and he's a necromancer, and we do really well together, and he has almost as much damage output as I do. So it's it just, you have to play them and figure out where you want to be. As you can see, they all just got to this first little mini boss, and the necromancer, like I was saying, his high damage output, I was able to get through that first mini boss there faster with the necromancer than I did any of the others. um, Now, I don't know, I don't remember which one actually got to him first, if they all got there about the same time or not, but I mean, finishing on the way the videos are lined up, the necromancer got through first, and then I think the monk, and then the uh, demon hunter and crusader. Now the barbarian and the wizard are going to take a little while to get through them, just because, again, she's not as good with the boss, and he's not as good with the little minions The staircase that they're working their way up right after that boss is actually a good one to see an indication of how well they handle mobs and crowds, because going up there, you kind of get crowded a little bit, so you can kind of see how they either pull in the crowd and do their attack, or they keep the crowd pushed back and do like an area attack and things like that. If you notice the damage that the mobs are taking, any of them that you see that that have the orange numbers on top of them, that's critical attacks. And the demon hunter is pretty good with doing critical attacks. I usually get a decent amount of them with him. I don't think his crit chance is actually any higher than others, but for some reason I just seem like I get a lot more crit hits with him. As they're moving up, you'll see kind of how I do these different skills and everything with them too. The way that I set them up, that you can have 4 special skills attached, and then you can have your 1 main skill attached. And right now they each have 5 skills, and I set them up with what I thought was probably going to be the best skills to use in this dungeon. Just before coming here, each one of them got a new skill, their 5th skill, that's like a mobility skill. The only one I think I put it on was the Crusader, because that's the one where he has the horse with the chains, and he can kind of group mobs up with that, and then come back in and attack them after he kind of groups them up, and you'll see me do that a few times. Once they all finally make it up to the top of the staircases here, they actually end up with the main boss for the dungeon. It's the Mad King. I forget what the king's name is, but anyways, it's this king dude, and that's where you'll really get to see kind of both their single hit attacks and their crowd control, because you're going to have him in the center of the room, and he's going to move around some, but he's going to constantly spawn mobs all around him that are like archers or little skeletons with swords or whatever, and you'll get to see kind of how they are able to do the crowd control and everything. Eventually, I might actually come back to this and maybe do individual videos to make them easier to see and show each one of these like as a better playthrough. The Necromancer, Demon Hunter, and Monk have all made it up to the final boss, and the Crusader is right there close to the top of the stairs. So he's about to get in there also, and you can see the Barbarian and the Wizard are a good bit behind still. I think they still have to go up 1 more flight of stairs, or 1.5, something like that. But I mean, the damage output from the Demon Hunter and the Necromancer are definitely, in my opinion, the greatest. And then the Crusader and the Monk are not far behind, and they do pretty well on their own. Keep an eye on the Demon Hunter here. He's actually about to finish this up. Then followed by the Necromancer, and then the Monk and Crusader. And actually, if you go back and watch that, the Demon Hunter did some pretty heavy hits there, because he still had a good bit of health left. Now the Necromancer should be done, and the Monk. But also pay attention, because like I said, how quickly they finished might not be an indication. But look at the zone there where we're fighting, because as time goes on, that little area where you see like the blue flames on the sides, it slowly shrinks. So if that area is pretty small, then that one, I guess, took a little bit longer to finish. So you can't really say, which one took longer to fight him unless you look at that, because they didn't all get there at the same time. Okay, so my 3 top picks are done. The Demon Hunter finished first, and really I think it's just his high damage output, the mobility, and then his ability to handle crowds. He has some pretty heavy attacks that work good on the bosses too. The Necromancer is pretty much about the same thing. You know, he's ranged, he's decent with the crowd control, and then he has some pretty heavy damage output. The Monk, he has some pretty high damage output too. Um, the way he does crowd control, he like sucks them in to himself and then does like these crazy little flying attacks that he does. He's kind of like a crazy Bruce Lee ninja guy. But those are my top 3 picks, definitely. And honestly, when I first started, I thought that the Demon Hunter and the Crusader were going to be the two that were going to be the way to go. But after playing all 6 of them, I would have to say Demon Hunter and Monk would be the 2 top ones. And then the Necromancer and Crusader behind that. And then the Wizard and the Barbarian are definitely at the bottom for my picks anyways. Now this is all just PvE. I'm not sure how any of the others do in PvP. The Demon Hunter, I've done decent in PvP, but it's really hard to get a good indication of it because there's so many players that have spent money, so they have, you know, the crazy good stuff already. I mean, I've been decent. I can usually jump into the fight and do a decent bit of damage. I feel like I play more support with the Demon Hunter in PvP than anything because I use my traps and try to slow down the enemy. From what I've read online, the Monk might be the one to go with if you want to do a lot of PvP. Apparently, he's supposed to be really good at being able to move through the crowds without getting stopped by them, without taking damage. He can just kind of blast through them really quick and then do a bunch of damage and then get back out. So I might have to start a Monk character and get him up to do some PvP and see how that turns out. And then, like I said, the Wizard and the Barbarian, they're not bad. It's just you want to play with a party. So if that's your thing, then, you know, go for it. More power to you. Well, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I hope that you liked it. I hope that it was informative. Please like and subscribe. It definitely helps me out. Once I get to 1,000 followers, YouTube actually lets me start making money off of these. And hopefully I'll be able to make some more videos soon. But thank you and good night.